This is Valley News Live at 5.
Hello again, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We begin with a story that suggests despite thinking your stuff is safe and secured in your closed garage, that's not always the case. It's a tip that one of our viewers, brought to our attention after several reported break-ins. Valley News Team's JC Dodd shows us how you can protect yourself from crooks coming up with creative ways to get to your things.
And assuming this has never been changed, I just broke into your garage. That easy.
Criminals taking advantage of a flaw in a system designed to help landlords and tenants, making some an easy target. A whistleblower tells us the method, what's called a J key, where each garage has a numbered key.
Allows them to access the inside where they can flip the brake on the garage door and release it, which allows them to open the garage.
What the burglars are doing?
Had a copy of the key made or kept the key after they moved out. And after you've gathered enough of them, you're going to get into some of these garages.
Which isn't unusual for police to see. When
we get like an apartment burglary, usually we see consecutive ones in a row. If they're going to break into one, they might as well break into 4 or 5 while they're there.
While showing me how the J key works, Ladwig spotted something suspicious.
This garage may have been broken into, and they may not realize it because it's broke off.
The solution isn't as simple as you may think by getting rid of the garage keyhole.
Now you have no way in if your garage door is dead, or you leave your garage door opener in your vehicle.
The best way to protect yourself?
Don't keep anything that's of value in your garage, and make sure you keep your car locked in your garage.
JC Dodd, Valley News Live.
Police say that they've seen an increase in burglaries in the metro because people aren't locking their car doors or they're leaving their garages open. Almost mid-December, and we're enjoying some decent December weather. And like December, things can change. Hutch is here with an early look at what's to come and where. Hutch?
Mike, thanks so much, and good evening, everyone. As we head into our Monday evening, we have a lot of cloud cover out there, but temperatures still wonderful, just like the weekend. Now, we have a few snow showers in blue here along the international border. Those are gliding northward, and as we look down along Interstate 94, we have a mixed bag of precipitation. Now, here's the good news. I did check out DOT cameras, and I'm not seeing much of this making its way down to the road surfaces, but just know there might be a few sprinkles far north and here in the I-94 corridor as we head through our evening. Temperatures right now south of Hutch's freezing line are very nice. Sisseton 40, 37 for you in Fergus Falls. With Devil's Lake at 26, those 20s stretch all the way to northwest Minnesota. Now, Wednesday and Thursday continue to be first alert weather days. And it all starts with rain for some of us, and there'll be a transition too. Check this out, though. We could have strong thunderstorms in southern Minnesota as things get started late Wednesday. I'll have details on that, but Mike, for tonight, expect quiet conditions and steady temperatures in Fargo with those clouds and increasing wind overnight. And your temperatures in Grand Forks are going to be rising as we head into the late night hours. Your hour-by-hour forecast for Tuesday and beyond, and an update on our changes to the winter weather system making its way through midweek here in a moment.
All right, thanks, Hutch. A Sabin, Minnesota man is facing the next 30 years in prison after investigators say he sexually abused a young girl for nearly 5 years. 59-year-old Joseph Johnson is charged with 3 counts of criminal sexual conduct with a victim under 16. As well as criminal sexual conduct with a victim between 16 and 17 years old. Authorities say Johnson admitted the abuse happened more than one time, but did not know how many times. Testimony continued today, marking the second week in the Kim Potter trial in Minneapolis. Potter is charged with manslaughter in the shooting death of 20-year-old Dante Wright. The assistant medical examiner for the Hennepin County Medical Examiner's Office was the first witness called today to testify. He told jurors that his gunshot wound was not survivable.
The entrance point was somewhere near the base of the arrow, and the bullet was recovered somewhere near the tip of the arrow. So you can see, even though that the wound direction was shallow through the chest, as we saw in the previous image, it did cross areas of the left lung, the heart, and the right lung.
A forensic scientist also testified today, explaining some graphic photos of evidence from the scene, including Wright's car and Potter's firearm. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin appears to be on the verge of pleading guilty to violating George Floyd's civil rights. A federal docket entry shows a hearing has been scheduled for Wednesday for Chauvin to change his current not guilty plea in this case. He's already been convicted of state murder and manslaughter charges for pinning his knee against Floyd's neck as the black man said he couldn't breathe in a May 25, 2020 arrest. Chauvin and 3 other former officers were set to go to trial in late January on those charges. The teen accused of killing 4 students at a Michigan school last month appeared in court through a video conference today. It was a probable cause hearing for 15-year-old Ethan Crumley. Those charges are typically held for a judge to determine and are typically held for that judge to determine if enough evidence exists to schedule a trial. However, the hearing has now been postponed until January 7th as prosecutors are still sorting some things out. His parents are also facing involuntary manslaughter charges in accusations that they gave the gun to Ethan as a present. They are scheduled to appear in a separate hearing tomorrow. A former Fargo bar is a step away from getting a liquor license again and reopening under a new name. Fargo's Liquor Control Board today unanimously approved to change the ownership and management for what used to be the Africa International Restaurant and Nightclub. That license will likely be in the hands of 518 properties owned by Fargo businessman and developer Tyler Brandt. Last May, a shooting took place in the parking lot of the Africa where a security guard was shot and killed. To this day, there's been no arrest. That event and other issues prompted the Liquor Board to suspend the license. Today's action by the Liquor Control Board will still need to be fully approved by the City Commission. That's expected to happen soon. The business will have a new name. It'll be known as the Summit Restaurant and Nightclub. Recent gift card scams have cost North Dakotans tens of thousands of dollars. The State Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division reports that in the last couple of weeks, they've received 9 reports from gift card scam victims, with losses totaling $45,000. The victims, who range in age from 26 to 75, reportedly fell for different versions of the scam, including fake sweepstakes officials pretending the victim had won a prize but needed to make an upfront payment. Inflation continues to increase, and that means the cash that you have is becoming less valuable. The federal government released numbers showing inflation in November reached a level not seen in 39 years. Washington News Bureau's David Add asked the White House whether it has a policy solution to unwind this trend.
Whether inflation is a short-term side effect of supply chain disruptions fueled by higher consumer demand or a long-term impact of federal monetary policy, lawmakers say it is hard for the typical family to ignore the hit on their budget. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics announced this month a 6.8% rise in the Consumer Price Index from November 2020 to November 2021. The Consumer Price Index, or CPI, is a measuring stick used to track price changes for goods and services. Republican lawmakers seized on the news and criticized policy by the Biden administration, and a new ABC News poll shows 69% of Americans disapprove of Biden's handling of inflation. White House Deputy Communications Director Kate Berner told me the administration's plan to address inflation includes helping drive down the cost of gasoline and natural gas, while also focusing on knocking loose supply chain bottlenecks.
We have a plan to tackle these prices and are working on it. We're seeing progress, but there's a lot more that needs to be done. And we're focused on making sure that families see that relief in their pocketbooks.
Berner would not comment on Federal Reserve fiscal policy, but even before the recent inflation numbers, Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell signaled the Fed will raise short-term interest rates as early as the first part of 2022. Georgetown University business professor James Angel tells me the Fed needs to act more quickly.
Nobody likes higher interest rates because that means you pay more when you borrow money. That tends to have a depressing effect on the economy. But in order to rein in the inflation, that's what needs to happen.
Angel also points to COVID-19 pandemic relief as a key inflation driver.
You can view this inflation as the price of the stimmy check that you got a few months ago. I mean, that's really how you're paying for it.
Angel says he expects inflation to continue for the next several months, but does not think it will rise to double-digit levels. He says people will need to shop more carefully to combat inflation impacts on their household budgets. In Washington, I'm David Aid.
Toys filled Culver's restaurant on 25th Street South in Fargo today as donations were being picked up for homeless children. As you can see, food, clothing, and other necessities were stacked on the tables and chairs. The owner of the restaurant also donated hundreds of free custard coupons. Then on Friday, the Golden Drive will be distributing gifts that they got from its Christmas gift event and sock drives. This is going to take place at the West Fargo Fire Department from 2 to 5 in the afternoon. Later on Valley News Live at 5, we're going to update the struggles for people trying to sort through the aftermath of those deadly Kentucky tornadoes.
And join us as we talk about this storm system off the west coast working its way over the Rocky Mountains and into the northern plains. There's some changes to mainly the track of this low pressure system as it moves through, and it doesn't intensify significantly until it's out of here. How does that impact your forecast? Details are next.